Caregiver entrepreneurs, I want to talk to you about action. Now, I know when we first hear that diagnosis that our loved one has been given, it can feel scary, right? And it can feel so overwhelming about, oh my gosh, this is such huge news. I don't know what to do. This feels so scary. It can just kind of paralyze you into not being able to make a next step. Same thing with building a business. It's like, in your heart of hearts, you have this business and this dream and this inspiration to share something with the world, but you're clueless on how to get started. I get it. It's scary. It's overwhelming. With that being said, I want to encourage you that it all begins by taking action. And when we're thinking about taking action, sometimes we sidestep ourselves into thinking, I have to take 10 steps to be able to really actually take action. That isn't the case. That can overwhelm everyone. Anyone can, pressuring yourself into doing more than what you can probably have in your mental capacity to do isn't going to get you anywhere either. So how can you break it down into something simple? Something as simple as just having a checklist, or maybe just focusing on one or two things a week. A book that I was introduced to by my productivity coach, Rebecca Lara, shout out to Rebecca, is Eat That Frog. And the author talks about how breaking down your tasks each week, or if doing a month is too much, if doing 90 days, which a lot of people I know teach, doing 90 days is too much. Sometimes in the beginning, when you're just dealing with so much trauma and so much change all at once, that's too much, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? So how could you break it down smaller? So I love the Eat the Frog method, and I've actually been doing this personally myself because of my dad passing away recently, and I've been off work for 6 weeks, and so I'm just realizing, okay, I jumped in feet first, and it's like too much. I kind of bit off more than I can chew, and that's okay. You don't know until you try, right? So how can I tone it back? So one thing I've been doing is having only 3 or 4 tasks for the week, and having the due date be on Friday. And if I get them done before Friday, I'll add something else. If I don't, I'll just focus on getting those things done by Friday, so I do keep the needle going. And that's okay. And whether that's if you're a business owner, if that's your social media, there's no book and rule book says that, oh, you have to batch out 50 posts in one sitting, or you have to batch out a month at a time. Maybe week by week is good, or maybe even just brain dumping, writing out your ideas, and then each day you go through and you choose something, and then maybe you have a checkoff box or something to help you just know what's going on. And this is something I'm going to start doing too, because that's been my nemesis too, about, oh gosh, I have to write all this content. I have all the ideas here, but but it's so overwhelming to get it out. And so how can you take action and make it be more consistent? Whether that's on the caregiving side, whether that's on the business side, and it's preparing you to be prepared in the long run, right? With having a system. So like in terms of doing on the business side, having just 3 to 4 tasks for the week, and then having that rule like, okay, if I get these done before Friday, awesome. I will add maybe one more thing to get ahead. If I don't, then I'm going to just work on being more consistent with getting those 3 to 4 tasks done. Or maybe I need to pull it back. Maybe I need to just do maybe 1 or 2 tasks each week and just kind of get my momentum back, if you will. And that's fine. But at least in that sense, you're still taking action and you're still taking a step forward. And that is better, guys, than nothing at all. On the caregiving side, same thing. As caregivers, we are inundated with a lot of information right out the gate, or we have right out the gate, right, as caregivers. And so it can feel overwhelming. So one thing I would do is just start slow there. The big one that you are going to have to probably deal with more than anything is like symptoms, dates of diagnosis, and medications. Those are the big ones. And if you can get those things organized, then that's going to set you up for being prepared when you do have a medical emergency with your loved one, or you're able to then see by documenting that stuff, they're starting to have more symptoms, or their symptoms are getting worse, or their symptoms are improving. Then you have valuable information that makes it so much easier for you to communicate that with your loved one's medical team. So what I do is over there on my desk, let me kind of scoot back here, guys. So over there, you see that notebook over there? Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not pointing right. Okay, there you go. Got it. You see that notebook over there? That's my spouse's notebook that I keep with him. My brain notebook, that if you will, that I keep for him. So anytime that he has had a seizure, anytime we've had a medical appointment, I've written stuff in there. So A, I can remember it, and B, as we go along, we can see patterns in it, and I have information to quickly be able to share with his medical team, which makes it so much easier and for them to be able to make choices and decisions about, okay, that's getting worse, so let's try this, or oh, that's getting better, so let's pull back on this. You know what I mean? Because as a caregiver, if you haven't been, especially if you haven't been a professional caregiver, you are the eyes and ears of your loved one. Okay, so it's very important that you do have a system for that. And in terms of a medical emergency, even just having those things written down, their main dates of diagnosis, what their primary symptoms or triggers are with their illness, and all their medications and the rules you give them, that's going to set you up right there really pretty for when you do have a medical emergency, because it's written down already somewhere, and everything is really going digital now. So the EMTs, a lot of them now have like iPads or phones. So even if you just have one copy, you can hand that copy to them, and then they can just simultaneously be writing in that information right away to into their system. Excuse me, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Into their system, and they have the information. It just took seconds versus like you scrambling around trying to look for their medication bottles and just, haphazardly trying to write something down really quickly. And this was the mistake I made when I admit I had 3 occasions back in 2020 when my husband was at the peak of his illness. I wasn't prepared. I was doing that. I was thinking, oh yeah, I can just remember everything because I can just remember everything. I don't need to write things down. And I had the medication bottles all over the house. They weren't consolidated in one spot to even find them anyway, even if I wanted to do that. So taking action now, guys, is a form of mental and emotional self-care, because as you're trying to build the momentum of your business, the more consistent you are, the better results you get. As you're trying to build, and it's okay, like if you've had a change like I've had, where you're trying to get back in the saddle, and that's what I'm focusing on for this quarter, for the end of this quarter, and in Q4. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. I will get it back, and that's okay. Life happens. Life will keep happening to you once your spouse, grandparent, child, whoever you're caring for gets sick, and also once your business gets started. Things happen that are out of your control. But the important thing here is that what I want to teach you is just how can you consistently still take action and keep the needle forward, and also, more importantly, preventing burnout. Because if you burn out, you're no good to your loved one, for sure. It doesn't feel good to be sick, right? And not be able to do what you want to do, right? And then thirdly, it doesn't serve your clients. You can't serve your clients. And they're trusting you, right, to be able to meet your needs. Your loved one is trusting that you can meet their needs. And so the more organized you are, the better you will be at taking action, right? And again, it can be slow. There's no books here saying that you have to do X amount of stuff by X amount of time. But at least taking bite-sized chunks and doing that is better than nothing. I know for sure for me with dealing with what happens when you have a loved one pass, you have to deal with all the final loose ends of final bills and expenses. Excuse me. Estate stuff and everything. And you know what? That's been new to me. I've never been through that before. So, another thing I've done is just having a notebook. I have a notebook right here, and I call it my brain notebook. So as I've been making phone calls, asking questions, or I think of other questions, I just write it down. And then that way I don't have to stress about trying to remember it. It's there, it's ready to go, and I can keep moving forward on that list, right? So, and if it's something I need to save, and this is helpful too, like I like to store a lot of my like login username stuff and like a Notion board I have, or other things I want to save, whether it's for my business or sometimes for my caregiving stuff. I first write it down in my notebook or somewhere, right? So I can reference it, but then I make sure I'm also intentional within 24 hours. I try to, or within the same day after I write something down, if I know I need to save it, I'm putting it into my Notion board, either on my phone or on my desktop, and just making sure I have it saved so that way I don't have to stress about it and know, like, okay, when I need to reference this information again, it's there, I'm good to go, and I can move on. Okay, so I want you thinking about that. Okay, and there's no one size fits all approach of how you do it. And if you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed of how to even start, doors are opening next month for my program, Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined. In this program, I want to come alongside you, and I want you to reimagine and re-envision what your life can look like with better systems, a better routine, a better schedule that works for you for the season that you're in. And if you're interested, the link's in my bio to join the wait list. And if you have any questions, please definitely email me or leave a comment below. All right. So guys, just take a deep breath, give yourself some grace. There's no right or wrong way. You're not a failure as a caregiver. You're not a failure as a business owner. We're all learning. Okay. And sometimes it takes a while. Okay. These gurus that have like 10,000 and do it all, and it feels like they did it overnight. Believe me, that's not the case. It took time. These caregivers that feel like they have it all figured out and that they have a system, it took them time too. I'm 3 years into my caregiving journey, or almost 4 actually, and I'm still learning. Okay, I'm still learning, and there's nothing wrong with that. And as things get better or things worsen over the years, I've had to kind of flex my systems, right? And that's the beauty about taking action and at least starting, because then you have a place. Because once you've started, you can then tweak and adjust as things come up. And that's a lot easier than trying to scramble and build something from scratch in the heat of the moment, right? So anyway, guys, take care. I hope this little pep talk encouraged you and gave you some ideas of how you can start taking action. Definitely make sure that you're focusing on nurturing your mind, your body, your soul every day. And as always, remember, you're not a bad caregiver. You're doing the best you can with some extenuating circumstances. It is okay to go after your dreams and aspirations with your business, because God has given it to you for a reason, so go after it. And just remember, you're not alone, okay? I'm 3 years into my journey, and guys, I'm still learning and figuring things out, and there is nothing wrong with that. So let's do it together. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.